halfway through the iRacing season brings us probably the most challenging week yet on the FF1600 schedule. Your eyes don't deceive you, it is indeed wet here at Donington Park. Another classic British track. This one's going to be very fast as we go down the quick S's and all the way back up, skipping that nasty little hairpin at the very end. This track is fast, furious, and a lot of fun in the drive, but these cars barely even have wet tyres as it stands, so this is going to be a particularly unique day out here. First wet race that we've covered of the season, but plenty of hopefully practice some of these drivers have gotten out there on the track, if nothing else. Well, Howie Burroughs, as ever, here alongside John, don't tell me I forgot it. Don't tell me I lost it. I'm almost there. It's Oliver Brett Smith over here. Saved it on the last go to get through these cars that are going to float and aquaplane and slide, but we get to have more fun with it.
I mean, come on. It's Donington in the wet, and we're looking forward to this race. I mean, you told me last week, we were at Fruxton, and then you said, Oliver, we're going to Donington, and not just Donington in the wet. I can't wait to see these these like F1600s go around, creating curves and the old hairpin. Even though that's not even a hairpin. Even not, yeah, the old hairpin.
It is called, there is a corner called Old Hairpin. It's misleading. It's there to trick all of us.
Yeah, but I'm really excited, Howie. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited.
This is going to be a good race, and whether or not it's going to be the same sort of carnage we saw last week, or whether the racing is going to change in any way, I'm not completely sure, but they're going to have to really keep their nerves about them. Qualifying getting started around now. Hopefully we have the hope we're starting to get some times up here soon, and this is, I love this track in the touring car series myself. Where another place where you see a lot of great British circuits. It's got a lot of elevation changes, every good British track does, is you sort of fly down and then all the way back up again. This race split. There was a lot of talk that it wouldn't split, and we did split. We do have about 3.6k SoF in this lobby. A lot of the old championship staples around there, including some possibly some TV, some championship standings that hopefully are correct this time. I got called out for these being wrong on multiple fronts last time. You know what? We all make our mistakes, and Medma is in position here to defend that first position and hopefully score even more points. Quite a decent lead. Adam Tompkins not making it to another week. Behind Ian Joyner and Fraser Smith could make up the gap. And my deepest apologies to Frederick Surley. I am absolutely sure I set up the CSV properly, and then it broke again under my watch. So it's sometimes, and on the topic, I'm just gonna bring up the series sponsor as ever. FILMBIL.NO, a name I'll get properly at one point. You see Frederick here in just a second, wrapping their car around the track. Major cut, and they produce cars for all sorts of car-related services for any filming project you may have in the Scandinavia area. They've been in Hollywood movies, commercials, and all the likes. They have stunt vehicles and emergency vehicles and plenty more. You can check out the website. They'll be in the corner and all plastered all over the title of this video after all. And yeah, there are laps on the board. I just haven't really been showing them. Hopefully there's laps on the board between these drivers. I think there are. Yes, there are. Fraser's currently the fastest. Frederick there nullified his lap, so that lap ain't going to count. But let's see if we can catch anyone else on the field. Christopher Cash over here.
Yeah. I mean, and Medma in 12th. I mean, hopefully, putting a decent enough lap to defend that title, get pole and hopefully defend that title. But, Howie, I'm quite interested to see how these drivers tackle the wet, because these curves will be slippery. And I'm guessing in these F1600s, it's not going to be a calm race. You have to keep on your tiptoes. I don't know about you, Howie, but I'd be scared if I was driving these around here.
It's a tricky car to drive in the wet because it has only a single tyre compound. It's got grooves in it, but it's not a wet tyre. So It's got a little groove down the middle. When I went to see these cars in real life, it was at Brands Hatch for the Formula Ford Festival last year. We'll be visiting that at the end of the season, and it was incredibly wet. In fact, so wet that I had to watch the final from home because, like, I couldn't sit. I sat there in the booths, and, like, legit, my hood was just blowing over. So the best drivers do have to deal with these cars and these tyres in the wet, but it completely changes the complexion. Go watch the VOD, by the way, of the Formula Ford Festival on YouTube. It is free, and the final was extraordinary. It was fantastic. It's going to be my favourite iRacing event around the other side of the year when it comes around, for sure, because it is just absolutely beautiful out there. While I go and try and fix Frederick's name, in fact, is it showing he's not set a lap yet, but trust me, that's not going to look good. It's not a good look for me either.
That's not fixed.
Just trying to... we'll get there. I promise before the end of today's stream. A few other drivers. A few new ones on the field as well. Here's Garen Batten, who hasn't set a lap quite yet. That car almost reminds me of a Crayola. I love some of them.
No. Howie, I think it is. Howie, I genuinely think it's a Crayola. Wait, hold on. Let's see the sponsor. I couldn't see
it's
quite then, but...
Fusion on the side. I don't know. But I think they're going for it.
No, it is, because the two black lines, like, you know, going vertically, they've got, like, the wiggly, I don't know how to describe it, the wiggly line in the middle of it, and that is what the Crayola pens have on them. So I think, yes, it is a Crayola crayon.
Honestly, only the most important things we find out today.
Oh, yeah.
Still a couple more drivers to run. Alexander Istad setting up second. I don't think we got much of an improvement there from Anne Medmer. It's going to be P12. It's Richard Harwood. I love the old Valvoline car. I remember it best from. I think.
Ooh. I think we just hit
we've just run out of time for qualifying, so I need to bring up the grid as quickly as I can because drivers are going to be gridding very, very quickly indeed.
And we've just seen a shower of rain appear on the screens, and I bet drivers are worrying.
It gets even worse. Fraser Smith busted by over a second over Alexander Istad. We have in P2. Ian Joyner in P3 with Daniel Tufts in P4. Nick Aronson takes up 5th with Frederick Sorley. It will be fixed for the end of the stream, buddy. It will be fixed for the end of the stream today. Peter Vanden Nord in 7th with Christopher Cash in 8th. Journey Zorek in 9th with Garen Batten in 10th. Sergey Montebat hits in 11th with Anne Medmer in 12th. A lot to make up. Aaron Geerling in 13th with Richard Harwood in 14th. Mark Smith sits 15th. Andrea Bellotti sits 16th. And in front of Nedo Brown, Philip Shear, and Martin Arnoldus to finish up the grid. And they're almost all here. In fact, Fraser's one of the last ones yet to complete the grid yet. And off the line, who's going to punch it and who's going to be really tentative, I think. I'm a little bit scared. I think maybe they're a little bit scared as well.
Indeed. I would be.
It's better them than me out there on the track, quite frankly. The one time I tried driving this car, it was very, very sad. In the wet, it was very, very sad. Love this car, and I love the people, and I truly, truly respect the people that put all that work in. But it looks as if we're about to get going. We do have Alexander Istad on the P1.
Green.
I forgot to turn the spotter off, but trust me, we're green right now. It's a good getaway from both drivers out in the front. I see the 4 there diving Christopher Cash very wide as we approach this big, bold first turn, and it's Istad who has taken the lead straight off the bat. Top 4 all otherwise running in single file. Fraser straight up losing the pace off the top as they fly down the hill. These cars are going to get horribly unsettled, I think, as they come down. I see Istad right up in the rear of Fraser, right in the back here of Alexander. And I think there will be a bit of a slipstream down the straight. The track is still raining all around. Ahead is Daniel Tufts and Frederick Sorley as well. Just trying to keep an eye on what's going on. He's on board Frederick's car. So you get a good view of the first 4 leading up. Is this the old hairpin up the top of the hill? This isn't a track I know the names of terribly
No, so
well. Fraser on the
it goes,
inside. He claims it, and in fact, Alexander could lose more.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been an interesting getaway. I mean, we've seen the pole sitter keep his lead. It's going 3 wide into the chicane, and number 3 quickly takes the inside.
Joyner's got the best of it, and Daniel Tufts there has sent Istad up and into his own teammate. That's both of those identical liveried cars off, back hitting the 9 as well, collecting more. That's the sort of carnage that we were quite possibly expecting, but all on the first lap. That's a lot of cars collected. Fraser Smith gets away.
Well, I mean, Goddard's has really caught out a lot of drivers on the first lap, that final chicane at Goddard's. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that chicane for later on in the race.
Let's see if I can catch the nice instant replay there in slow-mo, quite what happened there. It's very easy to misjudge going up. This is Zerne Zorek's perspective. I think we need a few cars further up the pack. Oh, yeah, here it is. So it is, it's the 6 into the side of the 7, pops the wheels up high, and from this point, anything that happens is essentially completely random. The 11 is collected further behind now. 6 sweeps all the way across the track, catches the 9, and even more. Everyone's trying their best to dodge. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of meatballs on the track, and I'm afraid there might be even more, unless I've caught this incorrectly. Is this just another replay of the moment? I think it is. We'll just return back to live pictures where we do indeed still have a race. It's Ian Joyner behind Fraser Smith. They've made a very big gap away from the field.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Can we just recognise that Anne Medmer has gone from what I believe was 12th from the start to 6th? What a run! I mean, continuously we're seeing improvements. And last race at Fruxton won the race, kept it calm, and now P6. What a run!
I think we lost about 5 to 6 drivers, and it would track. But dodging the carnage has put Anne in a great position to possibly claim more points. Richard Harwood and Martin Arnoldus also getting massive profits from that, according to these numbers. But Anne Medmer does indeed have points to chase down. We've got quite a bold scoring system here. It's 50 for first and then 40 for second. Then it goes down in 2s, then goes down in 1s. So that first is worth quite a significant gap. Because Peter van der Noord has a lot to chase down, more than 5.3 seconds in just 16 minutes of racing. Christopher Cash.
Yes. Well, have we noticed also this gap between Peter van Noord and Ian Joyner? Because Peter's got a heavy 5 second gap to Joyner, and I think we need to realise for that pack behind Joyner to catch up. It's going to take some effort, but it's the wet, and any mistake is costly. Let's just say. So we'll have to keep an eye out on Joyner and Fraser.
Fraser Smith sets the fastest lap as Anne Medmer makes it off side by side with Christopher Cash both battling it out. They've got Harwood up ahead, whoever survived the best out of here. Right, now Cash holds that place. But Medmer really has some places to be punching up. Further behind, some more battling going down. There's Andrea Bellotti, very close to the back of Philip Sear, usually a bit of a contender further up. He appears every week. He's got some to make up, though. Daniel Tufts on the back of Dick Aronson here. But Anne Medmer looking racy and competitive indeed. This is a big 4-car conga line down the hill.
Well, I think I feel like it's gonna heat up. I mean, you said to me not last week, I think just before last week, these races sort of settle out in the middle of the races, but I don't know, Howie. This one's looking very spicy towards the middle part. I don't know. Let's see what happens, as we reach to 14.5 minutes left in the race.
Yeah, we're expecting 15 laps, and we've just done 5. That's the expected length of this race. Fraser and Ian have got a fantastic getaway down the road. Really, it's the drivers behind now looking to fight between themselves. Looking at Tufts here, but, you know, Adam Edmer's obviously one of the big talking points. This could be anyone's game down here. Richard Harwood leads just behind Peter van der Noord. He's been closing up that gap quite decently now. And I'm not noticing any big puddles on the track. The rain isn't torrential, as I see Daniel Tufts around. I wonder if that was under his own power. Just got to catch the replay here. It was a little bit of a snap oversteer on the curb. Caught him out. And yeah, these curbs are basically ice in these conditions.
I mean, yeah, as I said before the race, these drivers are going to be looking to use every bit of the track that isn't slippery. I mean, the racing line, the standard racing line you use in the dry, I imagine is going to be a death trap. So, you know, if I was like, you know, Fraser Smith or Ian Joyner, I would be rather wanting to stay on the track because you've got that buffer zone about, you know, 6 seconds from the front pack. So I'd probably be wanting to stay on off the racing line and just, you know, trundle around, you know, get past, stay alive, because this wet weather can take anyone.
I've not seen tremendous. Thankfully, I've not seen tremendous death on the line. Although, yes, the line does always get a lot of rubber. But I did notice almost a loss by Richard Harwood there on the curbs. The curbs are always the sweet temptation of death around this circuit, quite frankly. And we've had a little bit of it already, of course. But it's very easy to just touch that a bit too much. And those things are essentially made of complete ice. It's not even like a racing surface. Everything changes. There's someone else going well. That's Christopher Cash. Just loses it a little bit. He has recovered in time to join the back of this train as Nick Aronson also slows behind the 8 there. The 8 there. Struggling too. Everyone's struggling today, I think. Everyone's struggling today.
I mean, when you've got these like semi-slick compound tyres, they're kind of built for, you know, the dry and then the wet. So it's not really benefits, you know, the dry fully well or the wet very well. It's kind of a middle ground, as, you know, I'm pretty sure we've mentioned before. But it is very interesting to see how each driver tackles them. And I think also the crane of curves around here will be very, you know, tough for these drivers, because you can't really deviate off the main line. And these, you know, semi-slick tyres will be quite a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see what, you know, the second pack can do. I mean, we've seen Anne Medmer make up another 2 positions coming up to the front of that second pack. As you know, Ian Joyner's managed to pull out a 7-second, you know, lead to Peter van Noord. I mean, who we expecting to win today? I mean, Fraser Smith has kind of, you know, trundled down the road, down the road, and he's kind of secured his lead. Well, anything happen, Howie? I mean, we just have to see what happens.
Honestly, I'm expecting surprises, and I just saw on the edge of that track, puddles are very much forming very close to those curbs down those straights. It's getting awfully, awfully shiny, and Medver at least wants to get past Peter van der Noord very fast around this track, and not using too much of the slipstream, but absolutely beat on exit there going into this final chicane. And Medver really has control of this car right now. We just had the fastest lap by Fraser Smith. I wonder if Anne's going to do it faster. We'll have to see as we cross the line.
I don't think so, because Anne was overtaking Peter van Noord.
About 2 seconds.
We see the 16 try and dive it down the inside, but you know the 5 has kept it quite composed. As you know, Richard Harwood, on board with Richard Harwood, viewing him from the chopper. And this second pack is a bit feisty, you know, keeping it clean and stuff, but still, the spray is quite massive and anything can go wrong. But yeah, seriously, this battle for third is quite intense, as they're coming out of the old hairpin and going up to what I believe is to be McLean's.
I mean, this is unfortunately just one of those British tracks. It's brilliant, but I just don't really know the corners down very well. I'm going to enjoy this a lot in TCR series when the next week rolls around, as ever. The front-wheel drive cars are absolute monsters all over this circuit. And this has been a hard week. Well, next week it's probably the hardest British track in all of iRacing. We go to Cadwell Park. Anyone that can get out of there without getting a DQ is strong enough by themselves, even in the dry. So that's going to be tough and tricky. Don't expect much passing, but do expect a real load of respect from anyone that can make it through. It's here on this channel, same time next week, as Richard Harwood now trying to get past Peter van der Noord, who wants to play a bit of a roadblock in the middle of the track and stop cars from going either way. Now they're side by side. Him and Christopher Cash behind, and Medma really wants to get away. Bestie Crane, Christopher Cash down the hill now. Very much side by side. I think he'll have the inside on exit here. And that's a very, very nice, clean move. I think they'll be trading places all the way up to the end of this race. A little bit further behind. Just want to catch all the rest of the battle. Nick Aronson has been tangling with Aaron Geerling and Martin Arnoldus for the positions behind for quite some time as well. I haven't seen too many movements around there, but there certainly are some serious battles here. Here's Richard Hart. I don't want to imagine that the spray is probably not overwhelming from these cars, but you don't want to be sitting right in the wake of getting your face sprayed full of water nonetheless. I mean, yeah, that's only one groove down the middle of those tyres. I can't believe they don't even give you a wet compound.
I mean, still, even if it doesn't, you know, if there's not much spray, it'd be very distracting. As we see Richard Harwood, you know, make a mini mistake, but keeps on the track. I thought Harwood was going to go straight on, but, you know, good drivers always manage to find a way out of situations. As we see, you know, the 4-car try and size up a move.
And that is not exactly the move he was looking for, I think. That is Peter van der Noord backwards, and I already start to feel there might be a guilty party here. This time we have a driver radio. Unfortunately, I must say it's by accident. No, it looks like, unless there is something I'm not seeing there, that could have been a self-spin. I heard a sorry on the radio, so there could have been some unforeseen contact in there, but it almost looked a little bit under his own power too.
There could have been some minor contact.
Would be very curious as to what happened there.
I don't know about you, Howie, but I'd just class it as a racing incident.
It certainly was. I mean, we heard the sorry, so whatever it was, I don't even know who said it actually, so all was cleared up on the back. I just know I heard it from someone unless something else happened further down the road. And Medma has absolutely flown away by quite a bit here. 2 seconds on Richard Harwood, 11 on Ian Joyner. It's going to be difficult to make that up as much. And Arnoldus makes the pass into the chicane on Christopher Cash.
Well, I was about to say, Howie, as well. We've been talking about Anne Medmo quite a bit. You know, we've had our fair share of Peter van der Noord. But I know someone we haven't been talking about. Martin Arnoldus. I mean, from what I believe he was quite far back in the field when we were looking at the grid earlier on. But seeing him 5th.
He's our biggest gainer of the whole race. Yeah. Very well pointed out. 14 places up the field. Going to be worth quite a bit by him. Richard Harwood also, to be in that position, was a fantastic climb. There are 6K drivers in this lobby. He's a 3K. It's a very respectable rating, but it's still behind the average. And as a result, you know, making up those places, rain can be an equaliser for a lot of drivers out on the field. Not many people get to practice it terribly much, especially in these cars, as Philip Sear also makes up a position past van der Noord, who has really quite dropped off a cliff over the course of this race now.
Yes, indeed. But I feel like even though mainly there's 3 packs, but I mean, as we can see, Joyner's kind of dropped away from Fraser Smith, so I feel like Joyner might have had a little bit of mistake, as we've mentioned before. You know, drivers might have a few mistakes here and there. I think Joyner's got away with keeping that 2nd place, but you know, as I was saying before, he got many packs in this race, but they're all not too far away. I mean, the 2nd and 3rd pack aren't too far away, so easily trading positions in the packs, you know. And I mean, isn't it just spectacular as well to see that these drivers, even though it might be wet and it might be tough conditions, they're still putting up a battle against each other and still relatively keeping it clean. I know we've seen 1 or 2 incidents, but after all, they're just racing incidents, and there's nothing we can do much, Howie.
I'd actually say this is a cleaner race than Thruxton. I mean, despite the big one on the start finish, It's been a cleaner race than
Yeah.
Thruxton. At the very least, the drivers have been. Pretty. Like it's all been little errors. I mean, it's all. No one's really that malicious in this
Yeah.
series, but it's certainly none of it's been over aggression or a poor move. I think everybody's just sympathetic to the plight of others in this rain. And as we approach the last couple laps, I'll put the camera a little bit on our race leader, Fraser Smith. There's not much to talk about when it comes to the battling, but quite frankly, this has been a spectacular run so far. 10 seconds on the driver behind. In fact, he could indeed be lapping a car with a few more laps. Probably not enough to get it done. We can see those sort of like at the bottom of the hill, those puddles sort of build up as we're going side by side again. Sorry, we don't get to look at you for very long. There's a lot going on this track, and Richard Harwood is still making up space.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Harwood is doing very well to hold that P4, so he's got a bit of a push on from the number 10, Martin. As Martin, I'd say Martin is proper, leading. Well, Martin's right here, and the issue Martin's got is he's got cars behind that probably want to pass him.
There's a lot going on behind, by the way. That's Christopher Cash backwards. Shall we just catch what happened there? I don't think he collected anyone along the way.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it was just a minor error.
Oh, looks like it. I mean, that's certainly not an intentional rejoin. I mean, that was the car doing what the car can do. But I gotta say, that was a scary moment for all those that had to avoid it.
Also, can we just recognise the awareness and the avoidance from what I believe was a very well sighted Aaron Gearing, I believe, or I remember, yeah, it was someone narrowly avoided it, but did well to catch that and have a quicker reaction time. But also, can we just recognise that Fraser Smith has been doing his homework this week? He's done his homework. He knows what's coming up. And I think Fraser Smith will be a common name at the top of the table. So Anne Medmer will have to be looking out for that championship. And
Ian Joyner also having a fantastic race. Martin Arnoldus is the next one to make a little bit of a mistake, almost into the rear of Richard Harwood. That's very good to save it and get back on the track in time. I think everybody just almost wants to be gone by now, I think. Lock up. Oh, that's terrifying stuff. That's terrifying stuff, almost right into the back. Thankfully, we are safe for now as we approach our last couple laps. I believe I just saw the white flag from Barney the Flagman, and the overlay did not indeed update me on that one. Let's just give the chopper cam one more look to see whether he's done it. He is indeed waving that white flag, and so this is the final lap of the race for our leaders.
Yeah, I mean, as we're on board with Aaron Gearing trying to pass that number 6 car, number 8, sorry, my bad. But one more lap, I don't think. Oh, we see someone else in the background get a bit squirrely coming out of Goddard's, I believe, and it was that, yeah, the number 10 car. Arnold has had a great race until that minor mistake. I mean, everyone's got to make mistakes.
I mean, a lot of people have made pretty good races until their mistakes. Van der Nord made a really nice battle up the field as well. Everybody, that's the thing about wet racing. If you could be great for the whole thing, but making one mistake, it completely undoes you pretty badly.
I mean, if you look at Fraser Smith,
coming right now to win this race. Fantastic win. One of the best we've seen.
What a drive. Yeah, I mean, Fraser Smith has been constantly dominant on the qualifying and the race. And to pull out a 14-second lead as Ian Joyner, I believe, will just be coming around the final corner now. But what a drive from our leader. And as also from Ian Joyner and Medimer. I mean, serious drives and serious recognition needs to be placed on these drivers. We've got a championship battle on our hands, Howie. I mean, I don't know about you, but this could get very intense in the next few weeks.
I think it's always a very big to and fro between these drivers on the grid, and Well, there seems to be the changing of the guard every single week. Indeed.
Jeez, Richard, where do you break, man?
This has been a very, very, very tough race. It's going to continue to get tougher as the weeks go on. But that's the halfway mark now in this iRacing season.
Yeah, I mean, Howie, what do you for today's race? Do you believe that quite a lot of the drivers up near the top of the grid, had a certainty of not certainty, but a percentage of luck, or do you reckon it was skill, mostly skill, or mostly luck?
Well, I think some drivers got very unlucky and didn't really get to show it in the big wreck off the start. But you had to keep it together. If you stayed up there for the rest of the race as well, there was absolutely no way you were just going to get up there entirely by luck. We saw people sort of make those mistakes under their own power. So,
yeah,
I think there's a bit of everything in it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the drivers that managed to profit off that incident on on lap one at Goddard's were, fairly lucky as we're going over it now. But also, I believe that some drivers got seriously unlucky. Frederick Surley and his dad got very unlucky, and I feel like next week they'll be wanting to put in a result and hopefully, get some more points in that championship.
Indeed, it's been 2 weeks to forget for Frederick, I believe. But
yeah.
But honestly, I think it's a very swingy championship, especially because not everybody's showing up for every week. So as a result, we're seeing people really make up gaps and really make up some big important gaps in the standings. It swings week to week. It's a very swingy point system we have in place as well. It's going to reward a lot of consistency, and everybody has had a bad race today, as we can see. Yeah, I know you retired early, Frederick, but I did get your O sorted before the end of the stream. Did I not get it sorted before the end of the stream? This should be okay. So last time I put the points up, they were completely wrong. I had an actual driver come and say they were just wrong, and I realised they were wrong on multiple fronts. So if they're wrong for the second time, you can tell me again. But I think this time. This is where the unofficial standings should look after this. And Medma holding on to that P1. Ian Joyner just behind with Fraser Smith. Adam Tompkins now falling out of the fight, as I don't believe he's making too many future weeks. With Frederick in 5th. Christopher Cash in 6th. Daniel Tufts in 7th. Martin Arnoldus in 8th. And Istad and Breton also making their way up. So lots to play for still in these standings, and lots of exciting weeks up ahead. The British races continue on this channel. As mentioned, Cadwell Park shows up. I try not to be terribly opinionated on this channel. I really try not to be, but I do utterly hate that track. Okay, to me, that track is just completely evil. There's no exception for it. But they're driving it and not me, and it's an incredible driving achievement to make it through on Sunday mornings as well, UK time. We have the Super Skippy Sunday. And a track I love as well, though, at the Charlotte Roval. So it evens out. You don't get everything you want in life, and I do love that circuit. So, we got a little bit of everything, and plenty more coming down the line in this season as well, including a new league announcement on the way. It's not quite ready today, but you might hear about it very soon. A new exclusive league coming to the channel. So until next time, I've been Howie Burroughs, and this has been, I'm going to get it right, it's Oliver Brett Smith this time. Got it right on the first go.
Yes, sir.
Got it right on the first go. Wishing you a